Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Katie and today I am talking to you about books. If you watch my weekly vlogs you will know that I'm a big bookworm. I absolutely adore reading and it's always been a big hobby of mine. Last year podcasts kind of took over as my main form of escapism, but 2018 is here and I've already read quite a few books, so I wanted to talk to you about them and perhaps make this a monthly or quarterly series where I talk to you about the books I've read and let you know if they're any good or not. So I read 4 books in January and I wanted to talk to you guys about them. I want to tell you what one was my favourite, kind of give them a rating out of 5 for each one, and then maybe this will help some of you find your new next favourite book. I'm just going to put a different lipstick on because I'm looking in the viewfinder and I don't like it. I think it washes me out, so 1 second. I think that's better. For those interested, this is Bobbi Brown's Crushed Lip Colour in the shade Angel. Right, let's get started. I'm doing these books in order of kind of my favourite to least favourite as well, just FYI. I'm going to start with my favourite book that I read in January. This has actually probably gone into my top 5 books of all time, and I have a lot of fan favourites. I will leave my Goodreads down below if you want to see kind of what kind of books I'm reading and what is on my want to read list. The first book is called Bird Box. This is written by Josh Malerman and this book is being made into a Netflix film very soon. I think it might actually come out this year and I cannot wait to see it come to life. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. So I realised after reading this and then kind of comparing it to one of my other favourites that I have a bit of a thing for, I don't want to say futuristic and I don't want to say post-apocalyptic, but kind of that. One of my favourite books is called A Lovely Way to Burn and it's set in London and it's about kind of the plague. The plague comes to London and practically wipes out the entire nation and the world, and I loved that book. So that's kind of similar as to what happens in Bird Box. Basically there's a big, I want to say pandemic, which starts in Russia and then moves to Alaska and then ends up in Detroit in America, which is where the story is set from a woman's point of view. Her name is Mallory, and this kind of phenomenon is where people will see something and they will be driven to kind of mass violence. They will kill others and then they will end by killing themselves, and people kind of start to realise that this is caused not by a virus or a flu or anything, it's caused by sight. So basically these people see something and it makes them kill themselves. I should also say here, this book is petrifying. I've never kind of felt this on edge and this scared by a book. Normally it's mainly films that do that for me, but there's one particular scene in this book which involves a well. I was petrified. I was reading it and I was like, this is really scary. So yeah, that's the basic premise of it. We follow Mallory, who has 2 children in a house. She has survived this kind of thing that's happened and she's been living in a house for I think 5 years, and the only time she steps outside is with a blindfold on, so she's completely blinded and so won't come into danger by seeing this thing. Yeah, it's just incredible. I would highly urge you all to read it. I just thought this book was spectacular. I'm going to read out the blurb for you just because I feel like I'm so bad at explaining books. Are you ready? Something is out there, something terrifying that must not be seen. One glimpse of it and a person is driven to deadly violence. No one knows what it is or where it came from. 5 years after it began, a handful of scattered survivors remains, including Mallory and her 2 young children. Living in an abandoned house near the river, she has dreamed of fleeing to a place where they might be safe. Now that the boy and girl are 4, it's time to go, but the journey ahead will be terrifying. 20 miles downriver in a rowboat, blindfolded, with nothing to rely on but her wits and the children's trained ears. One wrong choice and they will die. Something is following them all the while, but is it a man, animal or monster? Interweaving past and present, Bird Box is a snapshot of a world unravelled that will have you racing to the final page. I did read this really quickly. I think I read it in a week because it's quite a short book, but I just wanted to know what happened. So yeah, it is very hooking. I would give Bird Box 5 out of 5. Okay, so the next book I wanted to talk about was the one I've most recently read and finished. This was recommended to me by a couple of different people, and so I thought I'd give it a go. It's completely different to Bird Box. It's called Eleanor, Oliphant is Completely Fine. I read the first couple of pages of this book and I fell in love. I was like, this girl, I can relate to her in a weird way. I just couldn't wait to read the rest, and then I found myself disliking her, and then I found myself loving her again. There was a point when I was reading this book that I think I started reading at 11 o'clock. I didn't put the book down until 1 in the morning. I was hysterically crying, like sobbing my heart out. This book is all the feels. It's about a girl called Eleanor. She's lonely. She's very lonely. She leads a very sad, lonely life, and you can't help but feel for her. She's been through some stuff, which you find out at the end. The way she was kind of brought up and her whole relationship with her mother leaves her with very crippling kind of self-confidence in a way. I could relate to her on a lot of different levels in that. Both kind of the same age, both desperately single. She's a hopeless romantic in a sense as well, like I am. She kind of falls in love with someone, doesn't really know who they are or if they're a nice person at all. The book is really easy to read, and yeah, it got me a lot. Also, it's written by a woman called Gail, Honeyman. I'm going to read you the blurb. I can't say her name. For some reason, I've developed like a midlife lisp. Okay, Eleanor, Oliphant, has learned how to survive, but not how to live. This is a tongue twister of a blurb. Eleanor, Oliphant, leads a simple life. She wears the same clothes to work every day, eats the same meal deal for lunch every day, and buys the same 2 bottles of vodka to drink every weekend. Eleanor, Oliphant, is happy. Nothing is missing from her carefully timetabled life, except, sometimes, everything. One simple act of kindness is about to shatter the walls Eleanor has built around herself. Now she must learn how to navigate the world that everyone else seems to take for granted, while searching for her courage to face the dark corners she's avoided all her life. Change can be good, change can be bad, but surely any change is better than fine. That's giving me a little bit of goosebumps. I kind of want to read it again. I really enjoyed it. Eleanor, Oliphant, I would give a 4 out of 5. Okay, my next book is called The Haunting of Hill House. This was written by Shirley Jackson, and I think it was actually written in the 1950s? Yeah, it was originally published in 1959, so it's the oldest book of this bunch, and I chose to read this book because I was researching like the scariest books. After reading Bird Box, I was like, I want more scare, I want more horror in a book, and this book came up on pretty much every list of like most scary books. So I downloaded it on Kindle. It's again quite a short book, probably took me about 5-6 hours to read, and not in one sitting. I spread it over a week, and I hadn't realised until I was halfway through that I've actually seen the film of this book. So have you seen The Haunting? I think it was released in like the early 2000s or maybe even the 90s, but it had Catherine Zeta-Jones and Owen Wilson in it, and it's about some people who go to a haunted house led by a kind of scientist doctor who wants to kind of do some tests on haunted houses and kind of do a study on it. So he invites these people who have all had supernatural experiences to stay in this house for 3 months, I think it is, over the summer. This is the book and the film I'm explaining. And so they go there, and it's basically just about what happens. The main girl is a woman, again called Eleanor. The book is lovely because you really get to see inside her mind and how she thinks, and again I can relate to her in many ways. She repeats this phrase over and over throughout the book, journeys end in lovers meeting, and she's a hopeless romantic. She's very kind of flowery, like in the clouds, very likeable character. Her and a woman called Theo go to the house along with a guy called Luke and the professor, and it's basically about what happens there. I liked this book, but I didn't like the ending. I remember watching the film when I was a child, not even a teenager. I was very young. I haven't seen the film in a long time, but I remember the film being petrifying. I think the ending's slightly different. A lot more happens in the film than does in the book, but it's nice to see how their relationships grow and develop whilst all these kind of hauntingly things are happening in this place called Hill House. I would give this a 3 out of 5 just because it took me a while to get into and I wasn't as invested as the previous 2 books. I'm going to read out the blurb as always. The classic supernatural thriller by an author who helped define the first publisher. Shirley Jackson's The Haunting of Hill House has been hailed as the perfect work of unnerving terror. It is the story of 4 seekers who arrive at a notoriously unfriendly pile called Hill House. Dr. Montague, an occult scholar looking for solid evidence of a haunting. Theodora, his light-hearted assistant. She's not his assistant. Eleanor, a friendless, fragile young woman well acquainted with poltergeists. And Luke, the future heir of Hill House. At first, their stay seems destined to be merely a spooky encounter with inexplicable phenomena, but Hill House is gathering its powers and soon it will choose one of them to make its own. The final book I wanted to talk about was the first book I actually read in January. It's called 99 Red Balloons by Elizabeth Carpenter. It's actually her debut novel. The reason I read this was because it was nominated for our book club, the book club I'm in. I think my dad actually chose this book for us to read, and we all agreed that it wasn't our favourite book. I think we kind of gave it a 2 out of 5 in the end. Not many of us enjoyed it, but I wanted to mention it here because it is a thriller and I know a lot of people like those kind of books. So I'm going to read you the blurb. 2 girls go missing decades apart. What would you do if one was your daughter? When 8-year-old Grace goes missing from a sweet shop on the way home from school, her mother Emma is plunged into a nightmare. Her family rallies around, but as the police hunt begins, cracks begin to emerge. What are the secret emails sent between Emma's husband and her sister? And is Emma really as innocent as she seems? Meanwhile, aging widow Maggie Taylor sees Grace's picture in the newspaper. It's a photograph that jolts her from the pain of her existence into a spiraling obsession with another girl, the first girl who disappeared. I like this book because it's told from lots of different perspectives. I think probably like 5 different perspectives over the course of the book. You don't always know whose perspective it is being told from, which can get a little bit confusing, but once you're kind of in it, you will kind of get a gist as to how each of the characters think and talk. It's about a girl, Grace, who goes missing, and it follows Stephanie, Grace's aunt, Grace's mum Emma, and then this old woman Maggie who kind of the same thing happened to her. Her granddaughter was kidnapped. So yeah, it's a kind of whodunit, what happened thriller book, and I'm sure some of you will enjoy it. I don't know, it just didn't get me as much as the other 3. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. I'm going to write a blog post up on these books as well because I feel like I'm not very good at expressing myself talk-wise, but I will be able to kind of write more in depth about how I actually feel about them. So I'd really appreciate it if you could go and read that down below. Let me know if there are any books you want me to read. I would love to read some of your favourite book recommendations. Leave them in the comments down below and I will definitely get on that and maybe review those to come. Have a lovely day, guys. I'll see you soon. Mwah!